really great to be here with you, Richard. Welcome back to Oz. What do you see as your vision for religious education in Australia today?
Look, my vision, Gerard, for RE at the Broken Bay Institute is very sort of practical. It's very focused. It is improving the quality of RE in Australian Catholic schools, and all that involves. It involves curriculum development, it involves working with teachers, and it involves an interface with the wider culture. RE always takes place in a context, and it's important to understand the cultural piece, the world that we live in. But at the same time, we've got to be nimble enough, and this is one of the features in my view of BBI, that they're nimble enough to change focus quickly, the big picture, the cultural piece. And what is it that makes the language of RE challenging today? But at the same time, then not dwell on that in an impractical way. We've got to then refocus this on the work that teachers do in classrooms. I often use this analogy, I think it's a good one, that the best interface the church has with culture in Australia, not just in Australia, you could say Canada, the UK, anywhere, the best interface that we have is the teacher that this morning, this afternoon, is going to go into a Catholic school and teach RE. It's perfect. That's where it happens. The other stuff is important, but there's nothing more important than what the teacher does in her classroom.
Richard, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing educators in Catholic schools today?
Well, you have to start by saying that the teacher who puts their hand up to teach RE in Catholic schools is doing the church an enormous service, because the Catholic school sector is expanding. We have more and more schools, more and more students, and that means we need to teach more and more RE. So the teacher in that situation needs to have a fair bit of support, a fair bit of assistance, theology, pedagogy, education. And I think that's what a group like BBI is very good at, in meeting those needs. And what we're trying to do in a very concrete way is help, assist the teacher in a difficult and complex job.
Richard, what's been the most rewarding part of your work?
Look, that's a question that you get asked often, and I've got a good answer for this, hopefully. The most rewarding part of my job, the thing that I enjoy the most, is working with teachers who are working in Catholic schools. It's incredibly rewarding, because these are the people who are at the coalface. They're the people who are the human interface between church and culture for most of the kids in Catholic schools. That's what I find the most rewarding.
The big question you've probably been asked many times: what do you consider your greatest success in your career to date?
My greatest success? Look, probably a cluster of things. The work that I've done in professional development, and the research work that I've done with especially young people and culture, understanding the young person. And the third one is practical development of resources that can be used in the RE classroom.
You've had a lengthy stint in Canada, almost 8 years now. What would you see as the differences and the similarities between Catholic education in Canada and the Catholic education system in Australia?
Well, look, the big difference is that in Canada, it's not a national Catholic school system. The places I'm most familiar with are places like Alberta, where there are publicly funded Catholic schools. Now, that's not the case for the whole country, point one. But look, I think the lessons to learn from Canada for the Australian Catholic schools is that Australian Catholic schools tend to have a number of advantages over the Canadian Catholic schools, and it's reflected in what I call the number of, it's a bit of a clumsy analogy, but the number of shoulders to the wheel. In Australia, you have much more significant input by Catholic educational officers, by educational institutions like BBI, and also ecclesial oversight. The bishops are much more involved. Now, all those things together mean that Catholic schools in Australia, in my view, have significant advantages over the Canadian experience. Why? Because you've got more players involved, a longer history, and a deeper commitment to excellence.
Richard, it's great to have you here. What attracted you to the Broken Bay Institute?
Look, in the first instance, it's the human stuff for me, the people you're working with. The chance to work with a group of other people. Look, it's a bit of a one-liner, but you know that thing about being on the same page. I mean, you're dealing with people who are leaders in their field, people who teach well, people who take research seriously, and people who've got sort of high profile, high credibility. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it, though, is the specific stuff. Look, it sounds a bit melodramatic. RE is my life. RE is what I've devoted my professional life to. And the chance to be involved in a program that is so integrated, so focused, that involves theology, it involves leadership, it involves a bit of governance, it involves educational excellence. To be involved at a sort of senior level in developing those courses is something that's enormously attractive, and it's almost like a culmination of a career. So the chance to be involved with the people at BBI and have a hand in shaping these courses is enormously attractive, and it's something that is just a natural fit for me.
Richard, your major role is the head of religious education at the Institute. You also have an important role as Director of Research. What do you hope to achieve at BBI in that role?
Look, research is already a big part of what BBI does well. Faculty already have very impressive research resumes. So as my role as Director of Research would be to encourage that, and also get people thinking in terms of collaborative partnerships. Catholic education, Catholic health, how can we serve the needs of those sectors by focusing our research on specific educational needs. Research at BBI informs teaching and vice versa, and we want to keep that nexus going by making sure we've got a firm eye on the research component. So as Director, my job is to facilitate that connection between good research and good teaching.